All right, welcome, Snapcasters. I'm Alex here from the Snapcast. Gonna be talking to you today about decks of Christmas. We're doing our favorite decks that we've played, or were in existence, or whatever for this. Not necessarily the best decks, but decks we've had fun playing and things like that. So my number one here is actually going to be Orzhov Control, is what they labeled it as. I called it mid range. But this was during RTR, or no, correction, Theros Cons, is right when Cons just came out. So Sorin was a new card, and it's one of the reasons I really wanted to run this kind of deck. Like that Planeswalker was so good. But another reason, this is, I love this deck because it was a brew. I love to brew, and I did well with it. I got 14th at an open. This is back when they were one day. I think we ended up playing 10 or 11 rounds at that one. And you can actually see here, Bobby top aided this one with Golgari Constellation. I got 14th. So we both had a good run at this tournament. Um, and it was great for me to play something kind of, it was a brew for me. And this deck later got tuned more, which I'll talk about here in a bit. And I top aided a PTQ back when the PTQs were also, one day qualify for the Pro Tour that day. I top aided a PTQ with this deck with a few changes that I can talk about. But straightforward here, 24 lands. It's just black white. So Cave, Scoured Barrens was the life gate, or whatever you want to call it when it comes to play tap to gain life. Temple of Silence. Um, so very few tap land, only 7, because I did want to be doing things early. I have Thoughtseize, Sign and Blood, and that kind of stuff, and then one Urborg. Probably could have ran more, but it's legendary, and also I was just keeping things clean. I think later on I did change the mana base a little bit here, but so the creatures, very straightforward. 3 Brimaz. This card was great. 3/4 vigilance. Whenever it attacks, it makes a 1/1 vigilance token. Great with Sorin. To plus and make him a 4/4 vigilant lifelink, and pooping out more tokens and things like that to protect Sorin. Because I remember implementing this Sorin a lot that day. But then the more aggressive, if you will, drop here, Seeker of the Way. The 2/2 prowess gains lifelink, and then +1/+1 from the prowess, so he could get pretty out of hand. Then we're also running 3 Raise the Alarm as kind of flash creatures, if you will. A lot of times I would just kind of end a turn this into Sorin, get you 4 points of damage after they attacked or whatever. Lifelink, kind of turn the tide a little bit. And then 4 Winged Rock. This was another card that as soon as I saw this card, I knew I wanted to play it, and I played a lot of this card. It's just so good. 3/4 flyer whenever, and then raid. You get another 3/4 if you attacked, which this deck wanted to do with only 15 creatures and 3 raise alarms. It's pretty low, but this deck attacked a lot because then also Sorin can make creatures, and then also gaining more life whenever for each attacking. So between like Seek of the Way, lifelink, Wingmate Rock gaining life, Sorin gaining life, you gained quite a bit of life, which is why later on I went up in Thoughtseizes. But you get away with running Thoughtseizes in an aggressive deck because you lose life, but you're gonna gain it back. The spicy creature, if I click right, in this deck was Herald of Torment. A lot of people didn't play this card a whole lot. I played it in this and I loved it just because, again, certain matchups, it's just an aggressive 3-drop. A 3/3 flyer for 3 is just fine value. Plus, it curved out with Sorin, so then Sorin made it a 4/3 lifelinking. It's a flying attacker. But the bestow on this is really sweet because the way the deck kind of curves. Like, the plan is 4 Sorin, 4 Wingmate Rock. So, like, Wingmate Rock's usually your 5-drop, but this could also be a 5-drop. So, after Sorin, you can, plus, like, if you have a Brimaz in play, and then you bestow this on a Brimaz and just, the beats. And the sweet thing actually with Seeker of the Way is because when it bestows, it's an enchantment. So it actually triggers prowess and lifelink on the Seeker of the Way. So when you throw this on a Seeker of the Way, it's actually a 6/6 flying lifelinker. Not to mention if there's a Sorin or anything like that around. So I really like this as like the utility creature of I cast it on 3 when I wanted to be aggressive or just bestow it on a Brimaz or a Seeker of the Way and call it a day. Um, and then also the way the bestowed work is he'd fall off afterwards. And the drawback here was at your beginning of your upkeep you lose a life, but once again we got Sorin, we got Seeker of the Way, and we got Rocks and stuff where you just gain a bunch of life. But then we have like removal. 3 Bile Blights was just a great card at the time. Black was pretty. Not everyone could run it. It was pretty mana intensive for that, but because we were 2-color and Urborgs, we got away with that just fine. Hero's Downfall was just instant speed removal for anything. Creature, Planeswalker. It was great. Then we had the Read the Bones and Sign the Blood to draw, refuel, draw some cards. Thoughtseize, Disrupt, 1 under end. And we were running a spicy one of Godsend, whatever you want to call it, kind of double play there in the main. So later on, I took this out. I was not running it after this tournament, but it was a legendary artifact. I really want to try it. 1 in white's fine. Mana base is fine. Equipped creature gets +3/+3 whenever equipped creature blocks or becomes blocked by one of our creatures, you exile them, and the opponent can't cast cards with the same name as exiled by Godsend. Mostly, just more things I want to throw on Brimaz or like a flyer like Wingmate Rock or Herald of Torment. I sideboarded out most games. I remembered that, and it actually cost me a game. So what happened was I had it equipped on a Brimaz and plus the Sorin, and attacked, and I needed the life gain to stay alive, to not just be dead on the crackback with a flyer. And it turns out when you don't actually deal damage if they block, and it was a lethal attack on them, so they blocked. Their creature got exiled, so I dealt no damage, so I didn't gain any life. And I actually messed up. I should have unequipped it or equipped it to a 1/1 token I had laying around, so that way Brimaz would have hit and gained me life. So it was a mistake. I wanted to try it, but later on that was not there. Sideboard we have Bloodsoaked Champions, which actually went up. The number went up afterwards because I liked. This is one of the few decks that got more aggressive after sideboard. Like I could be aggressive in certain matchups. I would just bring in the Bloodsoaked Champions, and game 1 I don't have a 1-drop except maybe Thoughtseize sometimes. Usually it's like a tap land and a Seeker of the Way or a Raise the Alarm or Sign in Blood or something like that. But sideboard I would actually get certain matchups get more aggressive, bringing in 1-drops. A lot of people didn't expect that. I stole a lot of games doing that later on down the line. With that we also originally I was playing a more controlling game sideboard and bringing Drowned in Sorrows, in Hostilities, Liliana Vess, Silence the Believers, Stain the Minds of other Thoughtseizes if I needed to against you can look at the top 8 here. Esper Control, Abzad, mid-range were pretty abundant, and the Mardu was around, so I could board into a more controlling deck if I needed to. But later on, as you can see, like Esper Control, Mardu Controls, that's when I'd actually bring in more Bloodsoaked. So, like I said, I got 14th at this Open. I took it to a PTQ back when they were a 1-day event. Top 8'd that. Changed some things. More Bloodsoaked Champions in the sideboard. No Godsend, whatever you want to call it. I was actually main decking Ulcerates. Card not many people played. It was 1 black instant. Target creature gets -3/-3. You lose 3 life. But once again, I had Sorins and Seekers. I was just gaining so much life. But that was a result of Blue-White Heroic. And I remember playing Zach Jesse at that PTQ, and turn 1, I left up 1 mana. I played a basic Swamp or something like that, and he had already played his Hoplite. In turn 2, he's trying to throw an Ordeal of Thassa on it. I was just like, kill it. And he didn't expect it. It blew him out, and just... Ulcerate was great for me. It would allow Seeker of the Way to take down Siege Rhinos. Like, you attack with a Seeker of the Way, they block with the Siege Rhino all the time. And you just Ulcerate, you gain the life rate back, and you kill the Rhino and keep a Seeker. So it was just a great card later on down the line. But, yeah, this deck was great. I actually really enjoyed playing it. I think it was mostly the combination of Sorin and Wingmate Rock that won me a lot of games. But then I would steal games with a Herald of Torment on Seeker of the Way. Stole a lot of games. just because this deck could gain life at weird spots, like triggering. Seeker the way they would usually count for me casting a spell. So they'd count it for like 3 life when they're doing combat math. When I throw a Herald Torment on it, it's 6 life. Like it kind of throws off the race, and Sorin plussing with like a Brimaz if it was, if I didn't have the Sorin right away, having all the Brimaz tokens, also plussing, like this deck would just gain a lot of life at random spots and just really change combat math, and usually in my favor. And this Sorin, people forgot how quickly this Sorin emblemed. And yeah, I actually remember playing a game where I had 2 Sorin emblems, and it just felt amazing. But I had a blast with this deck. It was by far one of my favorite decks to play. Black white is my favorite color. Guild, if you will, color combination, whatever you want to call it. So I was just enjoying it, and it was a great, like I said, it was a great day. Bobby top 8'd that one, so it was just a good time all around. So I hope you guys, enjoyed seeing a deck like this as much as I had playing it. Nobody else was playing anything like this at the time. People were on Abzan. They weren't, 2 color like this. And man, this deck was just a blast. So, Merry Christmas, everybody, and stay tuned for other 12 Days of Christmas.